Anthem has called, and I have answered.
Go be a hero, Miles.
Look out below! Play nice.
Are you a calm and reasonable person?
Wanyex, how you doing, man? How you doing? How you doing? Kwaji,
Wagwan, Wagwan.
how are you?
Salama.
First of all, welcome one and all to the Movie Jabba Thursday Live. Man, I can't shout. I can't shout. My voice is. How do you do these things? Yeah. I learned these things from our friends like in Ashi. These things.
Fun fact. Fun fact.
Uh-huh.
I actually can't do that because for some reason it makes sense in my head, but my thing,
Uh-huh.
yeah, my is it
Let me give you a
what's
tip.
that?
Let me
I
give you a
don't
tip. Let me give you a
like
tip. Snap your
my fingers
fingers and
don't
then
understand.
pause. Bro, kwani are you Phoenix? Are you trying to wash a fireball or
No,
something?
no,
No.
no,
But anyway, guys,
no,
welcome to the
no,
Mujaba
no, don't.
Live
It's
on
the
on
math
this
isn't mathing.
Thursday.
Like it makes sense visually, but the math won't math. That's the problem.
Bro, you're doing it like Phoenix from Valorant. But yeah, guys, welcome. As you can see, today it's just me and Wanyaki. Right.
It's the
It's
boys.
a it's the boys. It's boys being boys looking good being boys. Yes, I had to say it. One time I had to
I'm
say it.
looking kinda ashy. Shout out Ashley, she's in the chat, Wagwan.
But it is what it is. It is what it is. We're here to discuss different things to discuss. We're here to discuss House of the Dragon, the Game Award nominations, some webtoons, some adaptations, MJX. By the way, first of all, fun fact: the duo ticket expires on Sunday. So guys, get your duo tickets. They're expiring on Sunday. Wewe and your significant other, or your friend, or your best friend, or your husband, or your wife, or your boss. I don't know who you wanna bring. Just drag someone from the street na walete hapo. It counts. It's good. We're good. Yo, by the way, hiyo tunaweza kubali. And yeah, so yeah, grab your ticket. You can use either code Chris. You can use code Wes. Wanyiki kuna code. Tell me you have a code, Wanyiki. Friende, do you have a code? Friende is loading.
Wagwan, Wagwan.
Hello.
Am I loading?
But
Yeah.
yeah, you
Nanisikia.
loading?
Nanisikia.
Yeah, I was asking, do you have a code? Niambie kuna
Mimi
code ya MJX, man. Don't have.
mi
Why
sina
don't you?
code, lakini ile code tunatumia ni we're using code Chris, so that's Chris with a K, so that's
Chris with a K.
KRIS.
Or you can use code West with a W.
Mtumie hiyo code.
Wait, is there a West with a Y? I have no idea. But anyway, other topics we're going to talk about here is Henry Cavill. This is now some rumors and whatever, because you know us, we love our tea fresh and hot. Sisi ni wa Kenya, part Luya, I think, I'm not sure. We love our tea fresh and hot, so we're going to talk about some rumors of Henry Cavill and The Witcher and Superman, some potential live actions from God of War or Gears of War, some general gaming talk, general anime talk, and we vibe as we go along the way. But guys, Mimi niko na confession. Mimi, let me tell you, it was me, Chris, and Friende. We were here. We were here, and we were about to miss the live. Let me tell you what happened. Me, Chris, and Friende were on Discord discussing League of Legends stuff, just general League of Legends stuff. And then all of a sudden, Chris just says, "Wait, aren't we supposed to go live?" At that time, it's like, let me tell you, As we are thinking, yo, we are thinking to the norm, this the blanches, we had then Viego and kiasi kiasi, boom.
Like see,
Oh shit.
that's usually the problem. Like when banter gets really good, you usually
Mm.
just lose track of time. But then like that also does make for like the best moments, especially when it's just it's the boys again being boys,
If
but also trying to look good being boys.
yeah, if I won't say if he was smart. Hiyo inaweza kujua. I could just sikia nimetolewa tu shwa. But if Chris
Way
was no, if Chris was malicious, let's go with that one. If Chris was malicious, angeanzisha live atupate tukiongea, then all of a sudden we get caught. But yeah, but to relieve what we were talking about, guys, before we go into our main topics, we were discussing the major event for this year, which was the major event for this year for League.
well, you could say Worlds happened, but
Worlds happens every
yeah,
year.
Worlds happened. Worlds happens every year. It just so happened that this year it was in North America, aka home country to Riot Games. But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, Worlds happened. MSI was probably a bit better, but Worlds happened. We can just say it
Worlds
happened
happened.
casually, and we'll make peace with
Because
it.
okay, all right, guys. So this is what me, Chris, and Trendy were discussing, right? Belveth was supposed to be the Viego of the Void, essentially the big bad, the guys everyone gangs up on and tries to fight. And if you see the way they did Sentinels of Light last year, yes, it was lackluster, but it was a build up. It was a good build up, everything, whatever, whatever. So the way they executed the end of the event was not as good as we expected. But there was that sort of build up. There was a sort of, we are here. Now, when it comes to Belveth, yeah, alipop like a butterfly out of nowhere. Like poop, ndio nimefika. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, anyway, you know, that's basically things. That's basically what happened. So honestly speaking, that's what we were discussing. Mimi, B, let me go back and get friend A's thoughts. Uh, what were you thinking? What did you think for like just before we go into the meat of this live? Tuingilie our guilty pleasure league. What do you think of Sentinels of Light? I know it's nearly a year, but that comparison, tell me your thoughts.
So we um, just generally speaking, I think Sentinels of Light was a pretty decent in-game event, right? So they
Mm-hmm,
managed to like get us to like have enough things to do, just keep us busy. Plus, they also managed to somehow craft a reasonable narrative. So like it's not one of
mm-hmm,
those things where like thing with gamers is you'll often do things simply just mechanically because you're like, bet I'm just off of work, I'm off from school. So I just
mm-hmm,
want to lose a few brain cells and just switch off my brain kidogo, do some
mm-hmm.
things, and then that's it. But the
Mm.
thing with Sentinels of Light is like if you actually just try to like
Shackles in
follow it
Warframe.
through, like some please don't go there. But like it made sense. Like it was enjoyable to a certain degree. But then now
Mm-hmm.
like when you yeah. Safe to say everything just changed when the Fire Nation attacked. So let's just leave it at that. Let's leave it at that because
Yeah.
um in-game events from Riot this year have been questionable to say the least.
Questionable.
But we
But
yes, we can live with that. We can live with it.
we can live with
Ishafanyika,
it.
ikauma,
Ishafanyika.
tumezoea. Now we just wait for Arcane season 2 and that's it.
Now. Unakumbuka kenye tulisema kwa Discord. You know, the budget has gone to Arcane. The budget has gone to Arcane. Tuseme tu hivyo. We make our peace with it because if we think anything further, bas. evil. We may blunder. But anyway, we will discuss a different order of things because number one, I know Wanyeki loves how to House of the Dragon. Let me tell you, Wanyeki, every time I see HOTD, I think How to Train Your Dragon. I ain't gonna lie. I think How to Train Your Dragon. Right. So this is what I'm gonna let do. This is what I'm gonna do. But first of all, watch it me a chat before doing here HOTD. Welcome Jotham. Welcome Brian. Chris ni mwenye anaandika use code Chris. That is the one mwenye tuchelewesha. Welcome Isaac Kagwanja. Any ticket giveaways? Unfortunately, not on this live, but maybe other lives. Who knows? Welcome Rebecca Kiarie. Let's kick things off. Wanyeki, how to your dragon? How to your dragon? House of the Dragon. Go.
Wow, the disrespect. The disrespect. I used.
Listen, listen,
Let's just
listen,
say
listen, listen, listen,
I'll assume that didn't happen. I'll assume that didn't happen. By the way.
listen, 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 listen.
Mm,
If you
mm,
go, if
mm.
if how to, how to train your dragon, House of the Dragon, HOTD, and how to HTT something D. How to train?
HTTYD.
Yeah, HTYD. There's H, there's a T, and there's a D. Right? It gets confusing. But the one thing
Now,
which
unless you're
actually I
telling me
want to
you want
ask,
to skip all the letters between O and T, there's no way that makes
yeah.
sense. There's no
No,
way
no,
it
no,
makes
no, no,
sense.
no, no, no. The one thing I
Nimekata.
actually want to
I
ask you,
refuse. Nimekach.
the one thing I ask you, listen, listen. The one thing I want to ask you about House of the Dragon is how is it similar to Shrek? Think on
Come again?
that. How is it similar to Shrek? Shrek,
Um,
the first one, because we have seen the memes, and you know me, I love my memes. You know, Wednesday was just yesterday, so you know, it was Wednesday, my dudes. Ah, but yeah, me wanna see is there context to this meme of how it was similar. I'd say avoid spoilers, but are we doing a spoiler review or doing a non-spoiler review? CG, the choice is yours.
in,
Chagoni lako.
in all honesty, up until this point, it's either one of three things. One, you're not on social media, so you avoid Twitter at all costs because Twitter
Mm-hmm.
was like pre before end of October. So like let's say like till mid October now, before the whole Black Adam and Black Panther hype and
Mm-hmm.
God of just before the madness that has been the end of October until now, the internet
Mm-hmm.
was ripe. It was ripe with House of the Dragon spoilers. Matter of fact,
Mm-hmm.
the last episode was supposed to air like I can't remember the exact date, but
Mm-hmm.
hackers managed to get into the Middle East and the EMEA servers for HBO leaked the episode early
Mm-hmm.
enough. So like by was it Friday or Saturday, half the world's already watched that episode. People are losing their minds. So at this point, if you haven't really watched it, sorry to say that that's more of like a you problem. Also, I'm sure like
Guy,
you've seen like
guy,
significant spoilers. So,
guy.
there's also that to keep in mind. But, there's a but.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I am a very magnanimous person, right? I have been filled with the
Magnanimous being the
spirit
word.
of joy and good vibes and good things today. So, I will try my best to
I don't
keep
like
it.
where this is going, guys. By the
Um,
way, guys, I don't like where this is going.
no, 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 no. I'm being nice today. I'm being very nice.
Okay,
No
okay,
promise by
okay,
the way, like
okay.
fingers crossed. Being very nice.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll do like I'll
Mm-hmm.
do very minimal spoilers, right? So like maybe
Mm-hmm.
best case scenario, if you haven't already seen
Mm-hmm.
it on the internet, then chances are I
Mm-hmm.
won't really spoil it, right? So the thing with man, this is so hard. Wow, it's so hard. But the thing with House of the Dragon, first of all,
Mm-hmm.
it's adapted from a, like it's adapted from an existing source material. That's one of George R. Martin's books. That's a really hard
Mm-hmm.
statement to say, or rather, that's a really hard name to say. But anyway, if you know, you
George
know.
R. Martin.
So
No, no, no. Just say George
eh,
R. Martin.
George Martin.
Martin.
So yeah. So the series of the film adaptation is based off of existing source material. So what Game of
Mm-hmm.
Thrones fans will know or will be happy to know is that one, for starters, source material is already complete, right? We won't have what happened with Game of Thrones post season 5, right? So in
Mm-hmm.
the event
Mm-hmm.
HBO do choose to adapt it fully, because they did greenlight season 2 shortly after season, or rather episode 1 aired. Episode 1 had the
Mm-hmm.
highest viewership rate of any show in 2022 so far for HBO. Not sure if it's also like for Netflix. We'd have to confirm those numbers, but premiere episode
Hold on,
had
hold on,
10
hold
million
on.
people in the US alone tuning in.
Wait, on Netflix? I thought it was HBO.
Sorry, HBO. HBO. So like on the premiere episode, 10 million
Uh-huh.
plus people were tuned in. And
Oh,
that's just
yes.
on the
I remember.
legal, that's for legal streaming, right? And that's in the US alone. For comparison, I think, was it Stranger Things? That's new season. Sorry, so for anyone in the chat who's about to blast me for that, it's fine. I accept it. I haven't watched this thing. People have hyped it too much. I'll wait for the hype to die down, probably grow a beard, and then I'll watch it. But anyway,
So you're basically
like,
going to become Kratos and then watch it.
don't go there. But yes, so like Stranger Things had like at best like it was 7, 8 million.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 1, House of the Dragon, 10 plus, 10 million plus. Even as an investor,
Mm-hmm.
why wouldn't you
Mm-hmm.
want to do that again? So, um, one, source material is complete. So, Aposta now, it leeway is on the producers and HBO on what to do. Two, the author of the book himself, George, in a recent
Mm-hmm.
post said that if this was to be adapted decently, not even just faithfully, but just if it was to get a decent adaptation, they would need to
Mm-hmm.
do at least 4 seasons of 10
Mm-hmm.
episodes each. And for the guys who've been
Mm-hmm.
watching this thing so far, like, yeah, you're not getting 40-minute episodes, you're not getting 20 minutes. Is The Office 20 minutes? I'm not sure, but yeah, you're not getting 20-minute episodes, you're getting close to like 1 hour episodes. So you're watching this thing, but then you're like, yeah, this is some good stuff. This is some really good stuff. So if they
Have
do
you?
choose to follow that, like with subsequent adaptations, things could be
Yeah.
really good. Really,
Have
really
you
good.
read? Have you read Fire and Blood itself, the book?
I am yet to read it. It is on my reading list for the year. So I'm planning to get a
Mm-hmm.
physical copy. I already have it like on my phone, but I want to get like a
Mm-hmm.
physical copy just to add it to my collection before
Oh,
the end of the
you
year.
want that? You want that whole fireplace scene where you're reading a book and you're like,
It's just me, my coffee, and a
It's
nice
just
book.
people's things.
Yeah,
But one of the things that
small
I
pleasures
got
in life.
from the small pleasure, one of the things that I got from, without spoiling anything, is that it's not a copy and paste adaptation. It's how do I put it? The best way I can describe it is leave alone the way Akin does. It's more of like you see a reverence towards the book, right? You see a reverence towards
Yeah.
like the source material and everything else. It's it's like a Witcher thing. They pulled a Witcher where, or rather, they did pull the Game of Thrones where rather than taking everything, copying and then taking a paste and then finding actors to say the exact same thing, the exact same way, the exact same words, they put its own twist towards it. One thing I do like about Game of Thrones, not sorry, Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, is that it has one of the Doctor Who people there. His name being not the Lieutenant. His name Matt Smith. Oh my lord, I love Matt Smith as Doctor Who, and therefore, he's seeing him on House of the Dragon and actually being let me tell you, I cannot pronounce that name. I have tried. It escapes me. Kizungu likuja na meli, maneno ingine lingie kwa maji, but just yo. First of all, seeing Matt Smith, they did. There's interesting thing about first of all Matt Smith as an actor. We saw him act in it's Morbin time, Mobius. That's the only way I can remember. We saw him act in Mobius, and we saw him have fun with a character that he doesn't necessarily need to put his all in. And then we see him act in House of the Dragon, and we see him actually go the full length of his acting prowess. And I'm like, okay, yes, this is what it means to have range. Because we come from someone we know as, from me especially, and for you, I'm assuming, for you assuming, someone we know as the Doctor, to someone we hear as Mobbing Time, Milo, to someone who's now a where?
Targaryen.
Yo,
It's a
Targaryen, to someone
Targaryen.
who says a Targaryen, and riding a fucking dragon. Dragon. I know that.
No,
I
yeah,
know. But that dragon scene. You know what I'm talking about.
no,
You know what I'm talking
yeah,
about.
no, no, just cut you off there. Like, in all
You
honesty,
see?
there's like 3 or 4 people so far who like honestly just deserve awards. Paddy Considine, the guy who was
Mm-hmm.
Rhaenyra's dad. I'm forgetting his name, but yeah, Rhaenyra's dad. That guy
Mm-hmm.
deserves an Oscar for his performance. Number two, Matt Smith, because tell me why this man.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was episode 3. Like I said, I won't give
Mm-hmm.
spoilers per se, but it
Mm-hmm.
was episode 3. A whole 10 minutes, no
Mm-hmm.
dialogue whatsoever, right? The
Mm-hmm.
only thing that was happening was like there's lots of things going on, but his
Mm-hmm.
facial expressions carried the entire scene. That's a whole 10, like,
Mm-hmm.
no words. No, this man literally came off a bloody dragon, took his sword, and is out to go do.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. When I saw when I saw that scene in my and this is I think where I think part of I think this is funny part of the whole Shrek comparisons came from scenes with Matt Smith. I can't call him with his acting name. I just call him Matt Smith because my name is Matt Smith. So when I saw the Shrek comparisons, and yes, they were fine and everything else, but the way he portrays, like you said, there's this thing. I don't know. There's a school of acting. Jungle Ukendezima. If you go to these reviews, they give this G school of acting, whoever, where you
Yeah,
display as good contrast. Look at how someone like I don't know Jared Leto acts, where he uses his entire face to emote, where you literally see
yeah,
every expression. But with Matt
yeah.
Smith, it's the subtleties. It's the actual subtleties. It's the eye turns. It's the glances. It's him staring down somebody, and you're like, and yeah, you're dead. You're actually dead.
This man, like, for that moment to be, and I'm not even joking with it. Like, it's just he doesn't even do much with his face. It's just his
Mm,
eyes, just
that's
his
his
bloody
eyes.
eyes, and as in that scene was just so beautiful. Also, like this very huge shout out because this man was toxic as hell. Like that was a
Oh yeah,
masterclass on 2 things:
yeah.
toxicity and also just how to also still manage to be a somewhat decent person by the end of it. Because tell me why you've been so toxic for like what 7, 8 episodes, but we will still defend you. We will ride at dawn for you, and we will battle
Let me tell you.
Twitter
Let me
hordes
tell you.
that will
Let me tell
try
you.
to
Let me tell you.
slander
Let me
you.
tell you. Let me tell you. Matt Smith, I feel like Matt Smith, in one way or another, channeled his inner light from Death Note. And
That was
that you could see that like it doesn't make sense. No, it doesn't make sense. This man is not a nice person. He's not. Like there's no trying to redeem him and whatever. I mean you can make a case, but at the end you just know. You just know it's not si mtu mzuri. The things he's done, the pool was planning to marry, now, now, now. Regardless of all that, still we dread at dawn. Umse akisema climb your dragons, we are going. Enyewe mi niko hapo na yeye uko mbele.
bro. Dojo, this thing was but this thing was so bad because like I won't even lie. I was watching it. episode after episode, right? So because it used to premiere like at is it 9 p.m. Central Time in US. So that's probably like
9 p.m. Central.
around, yeah, that's like 3 a.m. here. So
Mm-hmm.
early in the morning, early Monday morning, I mean that's the first thing I'm doing. It's me with breakfast and I'm having tea, watching the episode first. Then I go to Twitter. I think that was probably the best part of August to October for me. Like that routine.
You know
Because
what?
you just go to Twitter and finding
Uh-huh.
people with somewhat similar opinions slash mindsets and then just being able to voice it properly on Twitter, like that thing was bomb. It was bomb. It was it was the tweets. Mm.
Now, not to be outdone, not to be outdone. There's a comment here from Brand Whitney. I want to highlight where he said, "Let me see. I'm gonna type out the because me. Let me tell you, mimi ni Mkenya na nikaambiwa once upon a time pronounce things kama Kenya. If you see, I've written something down for you, right?
Okay.
Mimi, I would have said Vihiga. You know, like the county, Vihiga County. As you can see, I don't want to be cancelled. So I'm just going to let you pronounce that name and then say, Brian said they did nothing wrong. Changed his mind. Now, what do you think, friend A? Huyo mtu mwenye nimepronounce vibaya. Uh-huh.
So for
Also,
context,
what's the pronunciation?
Vega it's pronounced Vega. So it's Vega. So just let's just say
Wait.
the
I know
H
it's
is
Vega.
silent.
No, no. I know it's Vega. I know it's Vega. I know it's Vega. But, 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 not gonna lie. Kinda looks like Vihiga. Kinda looks like Vihiga. Anyway, yeah, Vega. Vega did nothing wrong. I had changed my mind. Vega did nothing wrong. From
First,
Brian Whitney, changed my mind. Personally,
first of all, Brian, like that is very, very true. Because again, like just from the title of the show itself, House of the Dragon, right? Like if you're taking it literally, it's going to be like about people who either ride dragons or controlled by dragons or dragons who can shapeshift into humans. It's just a house that has dragons. But the one thing that really stands out about the show so far is the fact that it's not the dragons, rather, the dragons aren't like the centerpiece of the whole thing, right? Like the narrative hasn't been forced to fit. So it's not just about the dragons, but it's also about everything else that surrounds it, right? Um, Viserys, that's his name. Viserys is Rhaenyra's dad. Yeah, Viserys says it best. I think in episode 2, or I think it's 1 or 2. One of the first few episodes, he says that the idea that man could control dragons was an illusion. That thing hit home, episode 10, right? No context, no spoilers. There's particular images you'll see. So first off, shout out to 3 people. The guys doing cinematography because the shots have been there's like still shots you can get that are just wallpaper worthy, right? And then second shout out has to be to the what's it called? The animation. Let me just call it the animation department, right? The guys dealing with visual effects and whatnot. Because coming up with like so far we've seen like close to 8 different dragons. Although like probably like models could be the same, but being able to come up with that many dragons and still manage to make them retain some sort of individuality, that's insane. And if the source material is anything to go by, there's going to be 17. 17. Let that sink in. We are yet to see anything in film that has that many dragons.
read a book.
If we're just going to be very
Read a book.
critical about it, we had
Yeah,
Hobbit,
yeah.
the desolation of Smog, and The other subsequent ones, it just had Smog. That's just one dragon. There was Aragon. Thank heavens they didn't make anything else. But if Aragon was to be adapted, at least we'd get like what, two, three dragons,
The
right?
Dragon Book
But
Bible,
in
you know,
living
right?
memory, the most you've seen on anything is on Game of Thrones, and that was with um, the three dragons. That was Vega. I'm forgetting the names. Wow, I'm embarrassing myself today. But yes. So if we get a full adaptation, at 17 different dragons. And you know what the cherry on top is? Say
Mm-hmm.
it with me. Ramin Jawadi. Ramin Jawadi. This is the man behind the phenomenal soundtrack that is on.
Oh,
As in,
Lord, Ramin Djawadi.
you
Wow.
ever seen composers who just can't go wrong? That's him. This man doesn't miss.
No, no.
It's
I think of the of the many soundtracks that Ramin, like of the many not soundtracks, the many musical pieces within the entire House of the Dragon show. The beginning piece, the ending piece, it gives you, like, let me give you a perfect example. Every time, whenever you're somewhere and you hear the Game of Thrones soundtrack, you know exactly what it is. Anytime you hear House of the Dragon soundtrack, you know what it is. See, like, there's a way a composer puts a stamp to its anime like. Ramin Djawadi has anime like thinking when it comes to those musical pieces. Because the same way we sing Akina Sasageyo, the same way we sing Akina Shiheteri, the same way we know what the intro OPs for House of Dragon are. But guys, we actually have to take a break to kunywa maji because yenyewe we need water. But when we get back, we'll be talking some more gaming stuff. First of all, Wanyeki and I, karibu nimalize because of some game award thing, which apparently I nearly made a wrong mistake with choosing a certain nomination will come from that. And before we go, guys, remember, we're going to have the Marvel Game Night on the Friday, 18th of November,
now you know the
6
best
p.m.
thing
at
is you're on
Macau
record.
Place.
You've just snitched yourself. So yeah, you'll also remember that.
Tutakumbuka hiyo. But yeah, guys, let's take a short break and we will be back. The link for the game night is in our YouTube profile or on the Move Jabba Instagram profile. We'll see you there. Let's take a short break. We'll be back. And we are back. Return of the Mac. There's a line by this guy. What's his face? This UK artist, Skepta. Return of the Mac. Something something two pack. If I remember it, I'll write it somewhere. But anyway, guys, welcome back to the Mujaba Live. It is me, Kanyeria
Is that
Sama,
Marco?
and no. By Nini, by what's his face? What's his face? Um, Skepta. Skepta. The guy who rapped "Shut Up." Do rappers sing? The guy who you know what? It's understandable. It is understandable.
R forward
How
slash
you
whoosh
doing,
in
guys? We're
comments.
back
Thanks.
with Friend Day here. We're about to get into some Game of the Year nominations, some Game of the Year nominations with Friend Day. But hey, if you're here, we'd like to hear some of your ideas, comments, thoughts on Game of the Year, as well as other categories within the Game Awards nominations. What do you guys think? Like, what are you expecting to win? What are you expecting to lose? Blah blah, all that stuff. Now, Manyeki, wacha nianze tu na hii. First of all, let me jitete because I know you're gonna bring this out of the blue. Wacha nijitete tu sahi.
Mm. Mhm.
Cyberpunk Edge Runners is a good adaptation. It is a good adaptation.
Mhm.
And the reason I was
Okay.
considering it was
Mm.
because was because well my name is Jupiter. Was because I got
Okay, now
nothing.
just
I
let
really
me just
have
let me
nothing.
just
I
let me
really
just
actually
I'll just
have
cut you off
nothing. And
right
also
there.
Wanyeki,
The
you're
second
muted.
you
I
took
cannot hear a
longer
thing you're
than three
saying.
seconds to think about it,
I cannot
that's
hear a
it.
thing you're saying, Wanyeki.
That was it.
Oh, wait. Now I can hear a thing you're saying. My bad. I forgot to unmute the site. Lol. This is what happens. This is what happens when you lose brain cells. Chris, why do you take my I think Chris went to the brain cells we were sharing. Oopsie daisy. My bad. My bad. I can hear you, Wanyeki. You were saying? Wanyeki.
Wait, what?
I can hear you
Wagwan,
quite
wagwan,
clearly.
wagwan. Yeah,
I can
please.
hear you quite
Yeah,
clearly.
please. So, I was saying, the
Mm-hmm.
second you took longer than 3 seconds to think about a
Mm-hmm.
genuine reason, you already
Mm-hmm.
lost. All right,
Oh, yeah,
you already
lost.
lost. So just
I
to put it
lost.
into context for chat, so Game of the Year awards, or rather Game of the Year nominations are going on. So one of the categories, give me just 1 second, is guy, where is it? Where is it
Best
gone to?
adaptation. Best
Oh, it's the
adaptation.
best adaptation. Yes, best adaptation. So now, for those of you not in the know, there's like several titles there, which is okay, right? It's okay. There's several. It's allowed. There's several titles. So there's number one, Arcane, an adaptation, a League of Legends adaptation. There's number two, Cyberpunk Edge Runners, from you guessed it, Cyberpunk. Then there's number
Cyberpunk.
three, the Cuphead show from Cuphead, Sonic the Hedgehog, and last but not least, Uncharted featuring yeah, Tom Holland, every other girl's
Uncharted,
crush, and
Uncharted.
whatnot.
I was about to say
Yeah,
Uncharted featuring Spider Man.
huyo ule Morio wa Spider-Man, that one. Hell. But anyway, this is a no-brainer, all right? And For anyone else in chat who says otherwise, that's okay. You're entitled to your opinion, but you're not entitled to your facts. What I'm about to say is a fact, right? Undisputed, right? Arcane
Really now.
is
Okay, but that's
quite
true.
literally
That's true.
the best of the best on that list. That's it. That's the tweet. Thanks for coming through. Jaribu kujitetea first hapo. I dare
Uh,
you. I dare
but
you. Mm.
now, before you go in that, there's something I wanted to get from. There's something I wanted to get your thoughts on. Number one. I feel like if you go, do you have the tab for the categories open? I think you do,
Yeah, I
like
do.
somewhere. Yeah,
I
cool.
do.
If you go to best sound score and music, we have A Plague Tale Requiem, we have Elden Ring, we have God of War Ragnarok, we have Metal Hell Singer, and then we have Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Let me tell you why this pissed me off, right? When we go to wait, let me do this for the sake of chat, for the sake of chat. Shout out to Carlton Kamau who came out for the live for the first time ever. Welcome. Okay, there we go. Shout out
Wagwanka.
done. Wagwan Carson. Anyway, so when we go to this all these choices, the thing that pisses me off is Metal Health Singer is basically a rhythm game. It's basically a rhythm game with metal in it. For me, it's a no-brainer. But the problem is, Wanyeki, Hosea is actually in God of War Ragnarok. So me, I'm so confused. Me,
No, no,
tebu nielezeo.
no, you're even overthinking it. You're even overthinking it. Like, no, to be
Nini.
honest though, like that's also like a relatively hard category because
Yeah,
the music in Elden Ring,
the music in Elden Ring
as
pia
in,
so me hata sijui.
yeah. But then I'll just put this out here right now so that I shall not be held liable for any other comments I may make.
Uh-huh.
Me, if Bear McCreary, me won't think too much. Me, I'll just click and
Mm-hmm.
I'll go on because
Mm.
Bear McCreary has done. He's the guy who did the soundtrack for like the other God of War, the 2018 God of War,
Yeah,
and he's also
yeah.
the guy who's done the soundtrack for Godzilla, King of the Monsters. And if you need
Mm-hmm.
another movie that's like more recent, or rather something else in film that's more recent, just to tickle your fancy a bit, he's the guy who did the score for Lord of the Ring. I'm yet to watch
Rings
it, but the
X.
second I saw that, I was like, okay, maybe it's time I actually watch this because it's
Yo.
bare. It's not in
It's
like
okay.
this
Now,
man
now,
took the
now, now,
original God of
now.
War theme.
Um, let me get to something. I know we talked about adaptations. Uh, I know we talked about adaptations. I mean, not adaptations. What's this called? House of the Dragon before, and one of the comparisons that comes about is House of the Dragon and Rings of Power. And now the reason I'm doing this is because guys compare Rings of Power and House of the Dragon. The one thing I really love about both of the two adaptations and all both the two series is the soundtracks. They have amazing soundtracks. And Bear McCreary actually lending his talents to God of War. So it's not an easy thing, bro. Have you had him and Hosea on the track, bro? I'm like, what?
I'm
Anyway,
telling you, bro, by
anyway,
the Miapo,
anyway.
like I said,
Yeah,
like
me.
that one wasn't too hard. That one wasn't too hard. May so bear, may click bear. There's no overthinking this. Yeah, there's no overthinking it. There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing else. You see bear, we click bear. That's it. That's the truth.
Aya. Let's go to the meat of this subject. But wait, before we go to the meat of the subject, there's one category also I want to get your thoughts on. Yes, best esports event. Right, we had Evo 2022. We have the World Championships for League. We have the PGL Major Antwerp for 2022. We have the Mid-Seasonal Invitational, and we have the Valorant Championships. Which one, in your opinion, was a good one?
Wow. Um, Again, that's also like relatively hard because if you see like the
But wait,
amount
first
of
of
work
all,
that goes into
just so
like,
you know,
uh-huh,
first of all, just so
hmm
you know, I know Ushatua League up. I already know Ushatua League
yeah,
hapo.
definitely, definitely,
Ushatua League.
definitely, definitely.
Ah, yeah.
There's only four options
Uh-huh.
there. It's Evo, PGL, MSI,
Mm-hmm.
and
MSI
the VCS,
and
the Valorant Championship.
VCS. Yeah.
So yeah. So first off, shout out to Beast if he's here today, if he's in the chat. He's probably the only person who would be able to tell me more about Evo because I haven't really been following up as such on that side, unfortunately. Like I am very outdated ikifika hapo.
Mm-hmm.
Like the last time I
Mm-hmm.
probably watched Evo probably was sometime like in 2019, 2018, like for the MKX tournaments back when Akina Sonic Fox and this guy, um,
Uh,
Tekken Master. Like that
mm-hmm.
was probably one of the best Evos ever. But if you
Mm-hmm.
go on up and now, there's PGL, yeah, CS:GO. PGL, yeah, that was for the CS:GO, right? Yeah, that was for CS:GO. I
That
think
was
probably
Cisco,
be
yeah.
between PGL and the VCS, because like
Mm-hmm.
both of them, like in terms of quality and what the fans were getting, that was some
Mm-hmm.
really good stuff. That was some really good stuff on both events. But then I'd probably lean more towards, yeah, I'd probably lean more towards PGL. I don't know. I like Riot haven't done me enough justice to make me side with them this year. So I'll just I'll lean towards PGL because PGL was like pretty good. It was pretty good this year. It was pretty good.
For
So
me,
Apple,
what was what I'm
no,
gonna
just
lean
practice.
into for me, what I was going to lean into was VCS. The reason I'm leaning to VCS isn't because of, they pulled out all the stops. It was an amazing experience. No, no. The reason for that was because I followed Loud and Optic from Ukochini, my group stages in Nikiangalia, the way they were going. So for me, it was the journey that took me with them all the way to the finals with them on stage. And I think that's where I had a bit of biasness because I was like, okay, sure, evil, yes, 100%. Shout out to Beast. Uh, champion league championships, you don't get. PGL, okay, yeah. MSI, sure thing. Now, the only thing that was gonna sway my heart, one or another, was my relationship to the individual teams and individual players. Now, granted, I have an undying affection for Faker, but and yeah, Faker alone is shikilia league championships. But when it came to the VCS, uh, having that connection with with the teams itself, seeing the whole rivalry, seeing the back and forth. I mean, that's when you can be why yes. And me, granted, my opinion is not is not an objective opinion of saying oh it's the best. It's a subjective opinion of saying I followed these teams from Akina group stages, just seeing them battle it out to reach the finals, and I think that's where you know. Timofika, I was like, yeah, 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 yeah. So that's for
I'd
me,
also
man.
probably get, yeah, I'd also get like why you'd go for it because like first of all like Valorant is still relatively new, right? So you don't have to do like a whole on like Google search on like which are the teams that have been participating in it, like which are some of the best teams, some of the best plays so far. Like the game is barely 2 years old, right? So like it's a space that's in development. So if you get to see these fast tournaments, like basically if you get to be able to see the foundations being laid and some of the early champions like being crowned and whatnot, I can totally get the appeal like behind it or around it. And also given the fact that Riot is a small indie company that makes music and has a game and knows how to put down events, like what more do you need? What more do you honestly
Riot
need?
is a music making company that creates a game to support its music making schemes.
That's it. That really is it. That's it. That's it.
Ah, yeah.
But now,
While we
now
are
that you
still.
actually mentioned it, let
Mhm.
me throw you a curveball. Yeah, let me throw you a couple. So like there's several categories for nomination. Should be around like 20, should be like 31, right? There's like
31, yeah,
31
31.
nominations, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's a particular category I'd just like to tickle your fancy a bit. Just hear your thoughts on it
Let's
because
go.
I know you
Let's
do
go.
play
Let's go.
like
Let's
a
go.
good number of indie games. So I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to get your thoughts. What do you think deserves the title for best indie game of this year? Like among the ones nominated.
Wow, bro. Oh my lord. Let me start. Let me start. Let me start. First of all, we start with the Cult of the Lamb. Bro, this game is just actually it's not revolutionary. It's thinking out of the box. Because usually when you get these dark and gritty games, like if you look at Mental Healthling as a game, right? It's dark, it's gritty, it's demonic, blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
And you're like, alright, cool. Then you get something like animal something. This game where you just tend to your farm and animals. I don't know what it's called. No, yeah, I know what it's called, but I'm forgetting the name. Right now, these guys
yeah.
at Massive Monster and Devolver Digital, what they did is they took Metal Health Slinger and Animal Crossing. That's the name I'm looking for. Animal Crossing, Metal Health Slinger, and Animal Crossing, and they combined.
Okay.
So basically, you're a demonic as hell lamb who's worshipping an eldritch god, going around committing murders, but at the same time, unaenda nyumbani and tend to your family and your people. But then you're actually possessed. Wow, that game is just, it's really well done. Aya. Number two. Number two,
So that's
I've not
tricky.
played.
That's tricky.
Eh? Yeah, that's trippy. That's trippy.
That's
Yeah.
tricky as hell.
Neon White, I'm iffy on that one. No, no. Aya. Sifu. Sifu, let me tell you why. Sifu, there was a game a while back I used to play. It had more or less the same combat type as Sifu, but Sifu is more refined. It's a really interesting combat type. I like it. The combat for Sifu, top tier above everything else in that indie category. Hiya, hiya. Let me go to Tunic. And Wanyek, you've seen the one I've missed and I've kept for last. And you know why. Tunic. It's good. Tunic is good, not gonna lie. It's good, but I couldn't appeal for me. Now, now, Stray, you actually play as a cat with all the cat-like tendencies. And then you tell me nichague kitu ingine. I'm sorry, no. I'm sorry, no. I'm sorry, hang me. I'm a cat person, my G. I'm a pet person. I'm a pet person. Bro. Yeah. Me so stray on
You know,
that
like
category. I was just like, you know what? I don't care. Hii ingine is a kwa game of the century, but I don't care. I played as a cat. I knocked down a cup from a table as a cat. I am satisfied.
I think like honestly, in my very personal opinion,
Hmm.
Stray has been probably the most interesting concept in a game so far this year. Like throughout the ages, we've had like really weird games, right? You can play as a person, you
Yes.
can play as a god, you can play as a human. Heck, you can even play as a goat now, but a cat,
A
and
cat.
actually make the whole game like build the whole game around that specific idea. Because like the thing game developers usually do is you'd probably end up playing a specific character, animal slash thing, but the environment has been designed for one particular species or like one particular main um, character, if I may put it that way. But for
Hmm.
Stray, you are a cat and you will interact with the environment in a similar or equal way to a cat.
Hmm.
And that is it. As in, what what more appeal do you need?
And
Honestly,
I
like
think,
just
first
the
of all,
novelty around the idea itself Like, that's a lot. That's
First
a
of all, first
lot.
of all, first of all, first of all,
Yeah.
we have to account for the fact that we are both cat people. We are actually both cat people. So of course there's gonna be a
Come again?
bias. We are both cat people. Like we are both cat people. So obviously there's gonna be a bias, right?
Shout out to all the cat
However,
people in the chat, by the way.
so
Love it. Love it.
love it. However, however, also I see you, Brian Vele. I'm gonna come to you in a few seconds. However, it's not the fact that you play as a cat. Let me, guys, let's not get this wrong. It's not the fact that you play as a cat. It's the fact that you accurately play as a cat. Like you can actually, if you're a cat person, when you play stray, you're actually like, this is what my cat would do. This is exactly what it would do. Like this is the exact same things it would do, right? And the heart the most and it's they did a very gutsy thing where the most heartbreaking scene in Stray is the beginning of the game. That's where you're like, oh my god, oh no! If you know that scene, it's not a spoiler. It's where the kitten gets separated from the pack. Right, that one I was like, oh no, and then play as a cat. You're like, oh, and you move forward from that. Now, let me go quickly to the comment section. Bravella said, "Imagining it straight turned out to be a catastrophe." Oh wow! Oh wow! There are a lot of people who hang out with Jotham in this chat of in this comment section of ours. Lots of people. And then he also says there's one where you play as a gun wielding squirrel. Have you seen that game by the way, Monyeki? The game where you wield like you're a squirrel
Wait, what?
wielding a gun. There's a game where you play as a squirrel wielding a gun. I'm not talking about like in a cool way. I'm talking about like you're an
I
actual squirrel with a gun. Check it out. I think it's called. I
wait.
think it's actually called
Which
Squirrel.
game is this?
I think it's called. It's actually called Squirrel with a Gun. It is actually called Squirrel with a Gun.
So wait. Let me get this
Uh,
straight. Let me get this straight. You said you play as a squirrel with a
uh-huh.
gun.
Sorry, what?
You said you play as a squirrel
Uh-huh.
that has a gun,
Yes. I'm not
and
talking
you.
about like a squirrel sized gun. I'm talking about a human sized gun, but you're a squirrel.
Yeah.
As you approach an hour, as you actually hit an hour, let's go to the meat of this issue. Wanyeki, let me ask you. Actually, let me twist this question so that ikwe more relaxing. Because the name of mbaya. Do you think the Game of the Year awards is actually healthy for us to choose? Is it actually like because Game of the Year awards, the games we have are Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War, Horizon, Stray, Xenoblade. Is it fair for us? Me, that's my question. Do you feel as if it's fair? Hmm? To co up with you,
That
we're just
is
shitting and
probably
sense.
like that probably has to be the easiest question you've asked me today. Making a choice for what title gets that award has to be the hardest thing I am doing this November because
What?
hey,
I mean,
as
what?
in
Because even if you
hey,
say at oh let's look at Suji which game has a storyline and what no, like each of the individual games on that list, even Xenoblade, the one I'm not really familiar with, each of them is a good contender. In okay, fine. Let's say this, right? Let's say this. We're not familiar with Xenoblade, and we remove it because bias. But then all other four, five, is it five? All other one, two, three, four, five. All other five are still there, bro. You're literally telling me choose between my cat loving nature and boy.
now here's my personal problem, right? like you said,
Yeah.
I'm also not as familiar with Xenoblade Chronicles, right? So
Mm-hmm.
can't really hype or um, speak ill about it as much. But
Yeah.
if we just fast track it a bit now, A Plague Tale Requiem. This game had, rather from what I managed to see about it, like this thing was pretty interesting. Like
It really
this thing
was.
was given any other year, like if it probably was in a different category. So let's say probably like if it was made by like an indie company or just any other category, it would have made more sense. It would have stood a chance. Because genuinely, by the way, it's a really good title. Like
It's a
it's
really good
fair,
title.
it's good, it's good. Then if we just go on to now Pastapo, Horizon Forbidden West. I say this and I say this with like the heaviest of hearts, but
Morio.
Guerrilla Games,
Morio.
whoever it is that manages their schedules for like releases, please,
Mm.
that person either needs to be re-educated or just because every single time a Horizon game has been released, it's been at possibly the worst time. It's a good game. That one goes without saying. Like,
It
man, the first
it
one had
suff
people going crazy. Like,
it suffers, yeah, like bro,
it,
it suffers the
it was
curse
one of those
of
scenarios where you're like, okay, you guys can't even top this. Like, there's no way to top this. And then they did. Satudu, no, honestly, by the way, Satudu, because if
yeah.
we go on now from there,
Let me tell
hell
you this. Let me
doesn't
tell you
pay,
this,
man.
right? Let me tell you this. And I think I mentioned this to someone before, right? When you look at God of War, let me tell you, Bas, let me gush a bit on Buana, Buana Christopher Judge here, Buana Christopher Judge and his acting skills. Sorry, voice acting, but still acting skills. The way Kratos portrays a father is so African, but so Western. Because without spoiling anything, and this is not a spoiler. This is just a line in the same way. In that there's a line which says, "Are you a calm, reasonable person?" This is now a line Kratos says. There's a back and forth, as if you've played the previous God of War game, you know Atreus has quite a mouth on him, right? He likes going back and forth with his dad. Now, there's a time he goes back and forth with his dad over a certain matter, right? And he disrespect, like there's a way it not it let's call it, he disrespects his dad, that something that would be considered disrespect by a black parent, but a white parent would be like whatever, or rather no, an African parent would be like, you know what I mean, like African parent and then Western parent, let me say that, African parent, Western parent. Now Kratos does something really cool, right? So he tells Atreus like, Mimi, I'll voice my doubts. If I have doubts, I'll see them, I'll voice my doubts. I will not keep my mouth shut when something is amiss. But nevertheless, I'll follow you wherever you're taking me. However, I will not stand that tone, boy. Do you understand? Kijana akasema yes sir. Bro, mimi had flashbacks. Me I had flashbacks. Mimi nilikaa chini nikasema, baba pole. Bro, like do you understand the level of acting and actual whatever for you to properly depict, because there's very few games here that depict a strict but good father. Kratos is a strict but good father, and then account that this is an entity, not a man who's binadamu kasi, is an entity. This is an entity that came off of slaughtering sijui how many people on the Greek pantheon and now is raising a kid. All that trauma, and they account for it. By the way, by the way, by the way, me, I've given up. Anyway, Wanyaki. Anyway, let me see what other category was there. Ooh. Best esports athlete. Let's go. Best esports athlete for you, your category.
Eh, all I
We
can
need
say is yes,
best esports athlete.
as
Me,
in
but let me give my choice. Let me give my choice. I chose Faker. Me, I chose Faker. Was me Nampenda. So up to you.
like the easiest way to say this is
Mm,
just choosing a specific title
mm-hmm,
for this is very, very hard. And it's for
mm-hmm,
the simplest of reasons. On one
mm-hmm,
hand, you have a game from, or rather a title from software. For hardcore
mm-hmm,
gamers out here, you know, from software, the guys behind the most loved game in this entire planet, which is Dark Souls. And then they went ahead and did Sekiro. Then they went ahead and did, I'm forgetting this other title. They've done like three. The TLDR is it's from software. And there's one thing that's like an underlying factor with all from software games. One,
mm-hmm,
you're going to get really solid narrative, right?
mm-hmm,
Story utapata. And then
mm-hmm,
two, from software games are a gamer's true test. Don't let anyone
mm-hmm,
tell you at oh, you have to be able to play FPSs nicely, just do those one flicks or any other complicated thing at oh, be able to play Irelia properly in League. No, just tell me you finished from software game. Tell me you've done Dark Souls 1 to 3 on the hardest
mm-hmm,
difficulty. Tell me you played
mm-hmm,
Sekiro on the hardest difficulty and finished it.
mm-hmm,
And trust you
mm-hmm,
me, I will kneel down and I will just say, yes, thank you. You are deserving. I cannot even speak in the same room as you. We are not equal. Because you, my good friend, are on a league of your own. Like from software games, reward people who not just put in the time, but if you're able to understand the mechanics and just make the most of it, like the whole experience of playing the game becomes that
mm-hmm,
much more worthwhile. Then now bring Elden Ring into the mix. We're running on new gen software. We have some
mm-hmm,
bomb ass narrative. We have the music to just back it up. And then, best of all, you have alternate endings, right? There's alternate
mm-hmm,
endings. It's not locked to one specific ending. We have alternate endings. As a gamer, one of the main things you look for in a game is replayability, which is probably why like
mm-hmm.
one game that people really love to date is Nier Automata, because like that thing has I think
Mm-hmm.
23 different endings to date. If what I have seen and read about it is correct, because I didn't manage to play the game fully, it has like 20 plus different endings. Now you tell me a
Actually
game this
has
good has multiple endings. Do you not want me to have a social life? I don't have one already, but do you want it to be worse? Do you honestly?
it has 26. It actually does have 26.
So there's that. Eh, exactly. No, so now there's that. That's on one hand. Then on the other hand, we have Santa Monica, the studio behind the game that shaped a fair number of lads and lasses, teenage slash growing years, for as long as you had a PS1, a PS2, and probably a PS3. I'm sure like anyone who's worth their salt and would even dare to like put the title gamer, or rather refer to themselves as a gamer, has played God of War
Mm-hmm,
to some extent. Be it the past three ones or the phenomenal masterpiece that was the
mm-hmm,
2018 reboot, right?
mm-hmm,
2018's reboot, like just for context, these guys came in at E3. Bear McCreary had a full bloody orchestra, and we just had the theme start to play, and then the legendary words were said, "Feed us, boy," and the world lost it. The entire world lost it. People went mad. Like me, I'm so sure, by the way. Anyone who was part of that orchestra, like the second you just play your first notes, and then like you realize, like you notice now the
Yes,
realization
boy.
coming to people. But then you'll just be like, yes, that's it. We've won. There's nothing else. Nothing else matters now. We've won. It's it. Nevo. Then this same people come. First of all, they do Norse mythology, right? I am a sucker for wow. I am a sucker for mythology done right. Or adaptations
Mm-hmm.
of mythology. It doesn't have to be like accurate, but these guys did the research. These guys read the bloody Poetic Ada, which is the source material for Norse mythology.
They got
They
Thor's
got
body
their
right, by
things
the way.
right.
They got
They
Thor's
got the
body right.
narrative right. As in, me, but if it was up to me, please just give both titles. Me, I can't choose. Like, I'll just put it out here by the way. Me, I'm jumping that. If anyone needs a
Uh,
screenshot for the chances
yeah,
of making for Game of the Year, me, I'm jumping that. Any place I'm seeing God of War and Elden Ring pamoja, other than the one for score,
unaruka hiyo.
I'm jumping it by the way. But me, I can't decide. Honestly, it's not fair. It's
Alright,
not fair.
alright.
But Kratos wins anyway.
Alright
Sorry.
then.
No, that was a slip of the tongue. Next.
Hi guys, we'll go on a short break. When we get back, we'll talk some final things about God of War Ragnarok, and then we'll give some sneak peeks on our thoughts on well, our thoughts on some general gaming talk. I might have a small secret for you guys. We'll find out soon enough. But yeah, so yes, so yeah. Uh, oh wow, oh wow. Oh wow, guys! I got information from my producers. 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 They're saying a break is not good here, but we actually need a break because of water and sorting out some technical issues. So, Chris, give us a break. It's gonna be like 2 minutes, and then we're back. We're back. Roll the thing. Roll the thing, Chris. Don't leave me hanging. Hello, 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 hello. We are back. We are back. We are back for the final few minutes of the Movie Jabba Live on this Thursday of the 17th. Wanyek, it's going to be Friday the 18th next year. Like next year. What? Tomorrow is going to be Friday the 18th. Wait, what's the horror day? Is it usually Friday the 13th? The horror day is Friday the 13th or something. I have no idea.
I, 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 I,
Anyway,
what a damn.
anyway, anyway, guys. So, the quick sneak peek I promised you was that some of our guys had a chance to go and watch the Black Panther screening in one of the largest cinema, no, one of the, in the largest cinema in Eastern Central Africa at Two Rivers. Our very own technical guy Chris was one of the guys who went there, and it was an amazing experience. It was an amazing experience. I had a chance to watch an earlier screening of Black Panther. I'm gonna say people give it a 5 out of 10, a 7 out of 10. Me personally, because of nostalgia stuff, I give it an 8 out of 10. So that's my opinion on Black Panther. It was really cool. I love what they did with Nemo, his whole Namor child love thing, whatever. I love the entire thing. Number two, I liked when I saw the pictures of the cinema and also the guys at Mujaba. Check out Mujaba on Instagram and TikTok to catch some of the reels that were at the Mujaba that were the Mujaba crew at Two Rivers. Guys came up with the best clothes and everything else. Uh, it was a really good cinema. It's a wide screen. You get the whole view and all that. That was a really amazing screen. But yeah, so guys, this is basically us winding down. We've talked as much as we can talk. We're gonna leave some topics for the next live because guess what? We'll now be having lives this Thursday, every Thursday, with different guys. You might get a chance. Who knows? Um, but one of also the things I want to remind you is that we have the Marvel game night happening at at Macau Place at the 18th, which is tomorrow. It's actually happening tomorrow at 6 p.m. The entry is free. So come on guys, come enjoy themselves, have a popping time and everything else. Remember, remember, the duo tickets end this Sunday. So copy your tickets, grab your tickets, use code Chris, use code West, that's Chris with a K, that's West WES. You get 15% off of your tickets. Yes, WES as Wanyeki has shown. Chris with a K, Chris with that K, the way Wanyeki is showing on his end,
Chris with
and
AK.
AK, exactly. And yeah, that's basically it, man. The parting shots from me is this basically. Game awards are unfair. House of the Dragon rocks. Uh, what? There's this webtoon called With a Cat Person. I have no idea. You're probably gonna get it. It's about this OP character who turns into a cat. Wanyeki, tell me, what was it called? Remember the name? OP
I will
OP
not.
character.
I will let
Oh
you
wow.
struggle to figure it out.
No, 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 no,
Not.
no. Let me get. OP character. It's literally character OP turns into cat. I am literally that's what I'm googling right now while all of you guys are seeing turns into a cat webtoon. It's called guys. It's called Eliseed. 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 Guys, if you haven't read Eliseed, go read. It's an amazing webtoon. But guess what? We'll be coming back next time to talk about more webtoons. In fact, I think next Thursday's live will be a webtoon focused live because if you've not gone to Anime Cafe pages and Mujaba Instagram pages, our resident friend A did something to do with uh, what's it called? Did something to do with what's this thing's called? Webtoons. Yes, my brain cell is not working for some reason. Guys, who saw my brain cell? But yeah, guys, thank you so much.
Explorer.exe is not consonant.
Oh wow, yeah. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. And friend A, bye. Friend A, say goodbyes. Say goodbyes. This is where the part where you say your goodbyes. Friend A, I know you want to. I know you want to say say
Man,
goodbyes. All right.
we'll see you guys next time.
We'll see you guys next time. It's been
Mimi
Kanyera
kuna
Sama and
mengi
Friend
tena
A.
maoni. Please remember just use that code Chris, and that's it.
Man.
But
And
anyway,
everyone who stopped by,
feel free to
Brian
reach
Vela,
out to me
Chris,
on Insta,
everyone.
so that's 5Z254. That's it.
Ciao. I'd Chris. Roll the ads.
Gotham has called, and I have answered.
Go be a hero, Miles.
Look out below! Clay Knight.
Are you a calm